nice weekend in most of the country, and not so bad even in the Northeast for part of that. But so much for the weather forecast. We're following a trial now in Florida, where a man stands accused of a murder-for-hire plot to kill his sister's ex-husband. Charlie Adelson, accused of hiring hitmen and conspiring to kill former Florida State University law professor Dan Markel. This man was fatally shot in the driveway of his Tallahassee home. This was back in 2014. Prosecutors allege the motive for murder was a really ugly custody battle with Adelson's sister. Adelson's ex-girlfriend, Catherine Magbanua, was convicted, as was a man by the name of Sigfrido Garcia. 2 prior trials taking care of that, but now on trial is Charlie Adelson. So we've been listening to some of the testimony of an ex-boyfriend of Wendi Adelson. He gives you context not just of the relationship that they sort of had for a number of months, but it happened at the time the couple got divorced, at the time, just on the eve of the death of Dan Markel. So let's go back into court for more of that testimony.
And she didn't tell you it was because killers were in Tallahassee to kill Dan Markel, did she?
No, I was stunned to later find out that there was hitmen in town at the time.
Okay. So let's go forward a little bit to this TV situation. Do you know anything about Wendy's TV being broken?
I do.
And when was the TV broken, if you know?
Between June 11th and 18th, I think it's closer to the 11th, but 100% in that week.
And how do you know it was in that week?
Because we rented a movie, How to Train a Dragon 2, to give the kids a special movie night, and I have text messages where I'm discussing having seen the movie by the 18th with friends.
So you were able to refresh your memory?
Yeah, I was able to
by going
refresh
through
my,
those?
yeah.
Okay. All right, so do you get the movie, or?
Well, it's back in the day, it was Redbox, so I rented a DVD from a Redbox. It was 2014.
All right, and go over there with the movie, and what happens when you arrive?
I walk in the door, and Miss Adelson asked me to look at her television because there's something wrong with the television.
And what was wrong with the television?
Well, I turned it on, and I was immediately confused because it really shouldn't have been a question. As soon as you turn the TV on, it's been struck by an object and is damaged and basically unusable.
Can you explain what the damage looked like?
Yeah, it looked like somebody stood in front of it, took their fist, and hit it like that, was my first impression.
So kind of like a shatter mark with spiders?
Yeah, there's like an impact crater, and then there's, out from that, and it's all pixelated and distorted, which makes it very difficult, or really no one would watch this TV unless you had to. And I had second thoughts about that. I looked around the room. Maybe the kids broke it, so I looked all around the room, and it didn't seem plausible that the children broke it. They're very small. This object had to be kind of heavy. I'd thrown a ball around with them. I just couldn't see how the kids could have done it.
But you didn't see how it got busted?
I didn't see it. I didn't know for sure, and I didn't know we'd be discussing this in a murder trial, so I didn't investigate further or think about it very much, to be honest with you. I just thought, okay.
Were there other TVs in the house?
There was a TV in the back bedroom, a similar make and model that we had watched television with the kids before on that TV before, so yes.
Is that where you watched the movie that night?
No, I went to go hook up the DVD player in the back room. Miss Adelson insisted that it would not work and actually stopped me from even trying. So thought that was very odd, but I didn't want to argue. It's her house, her TV, her kids, so I said, okay.
So did you watch the movie on the broken TV?
Yeah, we gave the kids movie night where we watched a movie on a broken television that was distorted enough that you could follow what was happening, but the kids are whining and crying the whole time. And I wasn't whining or crying exactly, but I was tempted to because it was pretty frustrating. And I just didn't understand, what was going on. And of course I had related that this TV is broken, it's unwatchable, it's not covered by warranty, you're gonna have to get a new TV, and I offered to go do that for her anytime she wanted. She's a busy single mom, I'll run by Best Buy, get you a new TV. It was not like a 80-inch TV or something that was really that luxurious. It was a TV like you'd see in a dorm room, so we could have replaced it right away.
All right, did you end up getting a new TV?
No, she turned me down several times on that offer, and again, it's her house, I tried to respect her boundaries, and I said, oh, okay. But it was inconvenient because after dinner, It's nice to be able to put the kids in front of that TV while you clean up the dishes and stuff. And
Okay.
it sat there being an inconvenience for a while.
All right. I want to ask you about, when is Ms. Adelson's birthday?
April 22nd,
Okay.
Earth Day.
I've got this out of order. Let's skip over that for now and go to the big fight in June. Ms. Adelson mentioned that there was a big fight toward the end of June. Do you recall that?
Yeah, that's the weekend of June 27th, 28th.
Where were you when that fight occurred?
We were in Gainesville. Miss Adelson accompanied me for a work trip, and we had had that scheduled for a while, and she accompanied me on a work trip, and we ended up having a pretty big argument Saturday night in the hotel.
And did that have to do with you accusing her of seeing other men?
That was one of the issues. There'd been a lot of tension bubbling. That was the major issue. But just to give that some context, I suspected very strongly she was seeing other men. Of course, your office had confirmed recently to me that there was multiple online active dating accounts the whole time we were supposed to be exclusive. But just to give context to that, that was combined with Wendi promising me the world in June. Talking about me moving in, shouldn't get a Jeep, you should get a car, the kids' car seats will fit in. The kids should start calling you daddy was the most outrageous one. And so she's like throwing herself at me over the top in a way that felt totally disingenuous and fake. And at the same time, I think she's seeing other guys. So I just kind of boiled over. I tried to have like a serious, honest relationship conversation with her, and that didn't go very well.
So you were kind of, at least up until all of this started happening, you were kind of full steam ahead, and it seems like she was a little stop and go, hot and cold. Is that?
It was a roller coaster, is what I would say. And I had felt since April that I was perhaps being strung along. I had that intuition. I couldn't fathom a reason why you would string a guy along like that. It didn't make any sense at the time.
All right, so we're in June, like 28th range?
Okay.
Okay, when do you come back from Gainesville?
The morning of the 29th, after this fight or this argument, we drive back. We drive back to Tallahassee. Now, I had another ride back, and I offered to take that other ride if the fight was that bad, because we could have broken up after this. That was, she wanted to ride back with me.
You rode together?
Yeah, we rode together.
All right, so you rode back together, and then was she leaving that day?
I believe it was I thought she picked up the kids the next day from Professor Markel's house, and that's when she met Amy Adler, and that was a big deal to her.
Amy Adler was Dan's girlfriend at the time?
Yes.
Okay, so at some point after the big fight and the return from Gainesville, does she leave to go to South Florida?
Yeah, I know. A day or two later, she definitely leaves to return to South Florida. She's in South Florida by July 1.
All right, and was that the trip that she was there for her dad's birthday?
That's correct.
Did you attend the dad's birthday?
No, I was never invited to the dad's birthday.
All right, and were you aware what the big gift was for dad's birthday?
No.
All right, so when did you see Wendi next after she leaves to go to South, or I guess after you return from Gainesville?
So during that 2-week period, we're exchanging emails, texts, long phone calls, video chats with the kids. Things are up and down, but it seemed like it's probably going to be okay. That's the impression I was given by Miss Adelson. Or I was being strung along 2 more weeks. But I see her again on the 13th when she comes back in town and is excited to have a date with me. So we had a date.
All right, so now we're at July 13th, 2014.
That's correct.
So within a week of the murder.
That's right.
All right, tell us about your interactions with her.
Well, that sounds like a dream relationship to me. Everything was just kind of a mess there. And have you seen How to Train a Dragon 2? It's not the broken TV that made it hard to watch. But anyway, I'm not the target audience. So this guy is in the relationship with Wendi Adelson, and it's turbulent with all these things going on with the child custody issues, and apparently just maybe they just weren't a good fit. Catherine Lizardo is here with me to talk about this. She's a trial attorney. I don't know why I linked that comment to you, Catherine Lizardo. I'm sorry, that was not intentional. Philip Dubé is also here. He's a public defender in L.A. He's appearing in his personal capacity. Thank you both for being here as we continue as the world turns the Adelson family. So let me start with you, Philip. This is a wild case, and we've already seen 2 defendants convicted, a third take a plea deal, and now we're on number 4, hitting very close to home with an Adelson as a defendant.
Yeah, and to be quite honest with you, Michael, and I don't know if Catherine agrees, I don't know what this guy proves. I don't know why they even put him on, frankly, other than to show that maybe she's able to move on with her life, meet other guys, start anew, find a new daddy for her kids. That maybe, but again, I don't know how that points to guilt as against Charlie Adelson. I don't see it. But for now, this Jeffrey Lacasa, he's quite a character. I mean, look at him up there. You know, it's like his one moment in time, like it's his, summer stock debut, frankly. That's what he looks like. He's a bit of a character up there. But again, as I said, I don't really know what he offers. At most, it might give the illusion or the appearance that Wendi was in on it, and she was trying to build a defense for herself that she has moved on with her life. She has not conspired or otherwise agreed with anybody else to end the life of her ex, and is trying to make it look like it's just a day in the chaotic life of Wendi Adelson, and is using him almost as a puppet to give that illusion to whoever might be looking at them after the murder.
I mean, you certainly could cross this guy, Catherine, as kind of the spurned lover, and what he's got to say is tainted by that. On the other hand, he was there at such a critical period of time, and especially that little getaway that was planned to his parents the week before Dan Markel was killed. Now, if she wasn't involved, obviously pure coincidence. But if she was, and she was so intent on getting back by July 18th, 2014, just happens to be the day that Dan Markel was killed, she wanted to be there because maybe one of the other parents wouldn't be to pick up her kids, that just doesn't look good.
It doesn't at all, and I think they put him there because he's trying to establish certain facts that we will find critical later on in the trial. For example, it seems very innocent, the conversation about the TV being broken, and he testified to that. But the TV being broken is actually being portrayed by the prosecution as a key word between Wendi and Charlie Adelson, and in terms of murder. There has been a situation, the insinuation that saying, oh, my TV is broken, or you're going to replace my TV, is their trigger word as to killing Dan Markel here.
Wow, that's very deep. Yeah, that's very interesting. I just said, they were close enough that they wanted a TV to keep the kids busy while they're doing the dishes, which sounded like a kind of to me, a deeper dating relationship. When you're doing the dishes, I mean, that's beyond superficial dating. But yeah, I like your take. I like that, Catherine. Let's take a break here. We're going to come back more. We have the ex-boyfriend on the stand. This case just unfolding, and if you don't recall it from the first couple of times, it's a handful. We're going to get back into it right after this.